A recent Associated Press poll shows that 54% of Americans believe the U.S. budget can be balanced without having to cut from Medicare. Meanwhile, the GOP is experiencing a backlash over its backing of Wisconsin Republican Congressman Paul Ryan's plan to reform Medicare by turning it into a voucher system. Will the GOP's willingness to address the Medicare issue cost them or get them votes in 2012? Here to discuss are my freedom fighters. Countdown to the closing bell anchor and my Fox Business colleague Liz Claman, Democratic strategist Carl Jeffers, and Independent Institute senior fellow and Suffolk University economics professor Benjamin Powell. It is obvious that the folks who answered this poll are reading different statistics and have a different understanding of the economy and history than you and I and Carl and Liz do. I mean, the Medicare trustees themselves say we're 10 years to bankruptcy at the present rate with all the borrowing. How could we possibly take care of Medicare if we didn't borrow? Stated differently, Professor, will not the harsh reality of economics make us change this system, something Lyndon Johnson didn't think about in 1965?
Yeah, absolutely, Judge. Listen, in the long run, Medicare and Social Security are both bankrupt, and that economic reality is going to come home. In the short run, I guess I sympathize with the people a little bit that I bet you and I could probably pick out $1.5 trillion or so of federal spending that didn't touch Medicaid or Medicare and cut down to a balanced budget. But I highly doubt any politicians in Washington could fix the budget problems without going into entitlements.
During President Obama's visit to Ireland today, he reinforced the corporate kinship between Ireland and the United States by saying, quote, "We are rooting for Ireland's success and we'll do everything that we can to be helpful on its path to recovery," end quote. Do you think he was saying to Uncle Ben, start printing cash again? Or do you think he was saying to whoever will replace Dominique Strauss-Kahn, hey, you guys have a $100 billion credit line with us. Why don't you use it?
Yeah, I think this is the problem here, Judge, is that he's sending signals that the Irish might not have to take care of their own mess. And they've taken care of their mess before. Ireland, about 25 years ago, faced a fiscal crisis in the mid-1980s where they had 116% of debt to GDP ratio.
Right.
They realized they couldn't pay their bills. It might actually be a perverse case of the IMF actually promoting development because they were so afraid of an IMF bailout that they actually fixed their own fiscal problems.
All right, the European...
and what they did is they slashed government spending 2 years in a row, and they drastically, over a period of 5 years, they reduced the size of government in their economy from 55% of all of the economy down to about 30%.
Carl Jeffers, Benjamin Powell, Liz Claman. Pleasure, guys. Thank you for joining us. Up next, the plain truth on how entitlements undermine the entire foundation of a free society.